Karpan. It was a family fight. Those are the hardest ones. You'd personified, you know. And the right, I am out half the time. Looks like a lot of familiar faces that will know this verse. Okay. Karpanya dosho patami tvam dharma samudhacheta yachreyam sham nishchitam bruhitan me shishashteham sadimam tvam prapanam. And I just forgot a really important thing that I just realized one important thing that I forgot to say was Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Aginatimirandasya Jananjana Salakaya Chakshur Unimitam Jaina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master very kindly forced open my eyes with it to him, and I begged for service life after life. Hare Krishna. So I'm going to just read through the word for word, okay, for this verse, because each word has a very part. Yat, what? Shreya, all good. All good. Syat, may be. Nishchitam, confidently. Bruhi, tell. Tat, that. May, unto me. Shisha, disciple. Te, your. Aham, I am. Sadi, just instruct. Mam, me. Tvam, unto you. Prapanam, surrendered. So this is Arjuna in the midst of his confusion. He said, you know, he's going back and forth. I'm not going to fight. I should fight. Now I'm confused about my duty, and I've lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I'm asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. So this is a different mood that Arjuna is exhibiting now here. Previously, he was telling Krishna, I'm not going to do this, wrong, this, that. Then as his bewilderment and confusion grew to a crescendo, he realized, I don't have the capacity to figure out what's best for me on my own. And he took a very major decision and a very wise decision and asked Krishna, who just happens to be sitting right there on his chariot, and he just happens to be not just an ordinary chariot driver, but the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he asked God, what's best? And if you just want to take a neutral position, that's a pretty good stand that he took, right? You know, there he had the opportunity to ask the Supreme Lord, what's best? And so the all-knowing Supreme Lord is going to be able to see past, present, and future. He's going to see everything, and he's going to understand what's best. Not just what's best, what's going to make you feel good for the moment, but what's best, what's the outcome. So we'll talk about that more as we go along, if I ever get to the purport, which I'm going to do right now. So Arjuna took that decision right there, right? So here's one thing that we can learn. When we have important decisions in life to make, perhaps we can acknowledge that maybe just on my own isn't the best decision that I can make, because what's my experience? My experience is limited to what I've experienced in this life, and that's pretty small, especially if you've lived in Alachua. But anyway, no, it's pretty narrow, right? But maybe someone who has more experience in life, who has a broader vision, who has more wisdom. I'm just thinking of what I'm not going to say right now. Okay, somebody who has more wisdom can help guide me. I need guidance. That's the cry of the soul. The soul, and that could be one lesson that we take from this, just one of the many lessons, that the soul needs guidance. It needs guidance along the way. There's so many choices in life to make, and who can say that they're making the best decision with all the choices that there are, and the results are going to be positive and this and that, and it's all going to be all good and hunky-dory, as they say. Who can really say that with utmost confidence? Unless one is taking shelter of the Supreme Lord and begging and asking for his guidance. So that's one lesson. And don't think, oh, but that's Arjuna. He was that circumstance is unique. My circumstance is different. I don't have God to ask. Or maybe I do have God to ask, but I don't know what he'd say, and I don't know if I can hear his answer properly. I do have little voices in my head telling me this and that and this and that, but are they the voice of the Lord? Am I qualified to hear the voice and guidance of the Lord? Maybe not directly through my head and my imagination, but through his guiding light of scriptures, yes. And perhaps other people who have studied, not just armchair study, but studied and lived the philosophy for years together, maybe they could shed some light on things. So that one thing is ask for help. Another thing is, don't be afraid to ask. I guess that should be first, right? Don't be afraid to ask, and then ask for help. How's that? Okay, so I'm just going to read a couple of paragraphs. It's a long purport, relatively long, but short amount of time. So, Srila Prabhupada, he gives a commentary to all of the verses in the Bhagavad Gita, so to help us bring it to our daily life. Srila Prabhupada's purport. By nature, the complete system of material activities is a source of perplexity for just a couple of people. Nope. Wrong. It's a source of perplexity for everyone. So sometimes, when we're talking about decisions here, how to make decisions, we're not talking about what to eat for dinner or, what color clothes to put on. No, really important life changing or life impression decisions, you need guidance. And it's not just guidance on the decision, but we need to be grounded as to who we are and what we want. And that we can also get help from Bhagavad Gita too, because Bhagavad Gita tells us, hey, you know what? You're not your body. If you think that your decision is based on your bodily comforts, what's going to bring you happiness, wealth, prosperity, this and that, that's okay. That's a valid thing to base your decision on. But it's not going to bring you happiness because there's some fundamental error in your calculation right there. And the fundamental error is that material things are going to make me, the soul, happy. If we open our eyes with the torchlight of knowledge, if we open our eyes and see around so many people and so many personalities for so many hundreds and thousands of years have made decisions on what's going to make me and my body happy, and have they achieved that? To some extent, yes. Okay, we're not saying that everybody's completely miserable, but to some extent, yes. But to the majority, to the greater view of things, no, it doesn't make them happy. Because if we're misidentifying who the me is, how can I be happy? If we're misidentifying who we really are, how can we be happy? By having what? Our basic necessities taken care of. What? Money, health, career, whatever. Some basic necessities in life. We need those things. But if that's based on I'm my body and I want a good job or a good education so that I can make more money so that will make me happy, many people before have done that and haven't achieved that happiness. And it's very obvious once you open your eyes to that. It's very obvious. Just like we've heard from day one, materialistic life, you're hearing money, career, and health. That'll make me happy, right? So now think that through. When you're young, time. And if I have enough time to enjoy those things, that'll make me happy. So when you're young, you've got two of those things. You've got time and you've got health. But you don't have much money. Okay, so in the future, there's a promise. In the future, if you go to that school, you get that job, and then you'll have money. Okay, so then when in middle age, not just in the beginning part of middle age either, but end of middle age, you might have enough money and you'll still have your health, but you won't have very much time because you'll be working really hard to maintain all that things that you've acquired and want to acquire. And then at the end of life, you'll have plenty of time and probably plenty of money. But your knees don't work, you can't sit down anymore, you can't stand up, you can't remember your name, you can't remember this, that, or this, that. So it's never, all three of them are ever there for very long together. So Krishna is bringing, more or less, he's bringing Arjuna to that point of realization. Yes, life is full of perplexities, and everyone goes through those perplexities. And if we base our desire to be happy on my selfish motivations, what's going to make me happy, I'm probably going to be very disappointed in the long run and in the short run. So now I'm going to read the second sentence in the purport. In every step there is perplexity, and therefore it behooves one to approach a bona fide spiritual master who can give one proper guidance for executing the purpose of life. All Vedic literatures advise a bona fide spiritual master to get free from the perplexities of life which happen without our desire. They are like a forest fire that somehow blazes without being set by anyone. Does that make you think of anything? Recent news headlines? A forest fire that blazes without being set by anyone? And all the suffering and the hundreds and thousands of people and the whole island that was practically, leveled by that fire. Did they want it? No. Did they expect it? No. Were they prepared? Yes and no. They had all the system in place and none of the sirens went off. They had this in place and none of that helped. It went so fast. It was beyond all the preparations that anyone could have made. It was